And welcome back to the podcast. As you can see, I'm here with Jamie, but not Louis today because he's in Cyprus for the international break, and that means no Chelsea chat today. Thank God for that. Yeah, exactly right. No Chelsea chat. They're not coming back. No Louis. So, Jamie, the Premier League is back this weekend, and we have missed it. And we're back with a bang because it's Liverpool against Everton. And we're going to start with our aspirations. But before we start the aspirations, what do you think about Jurgen Klopp? They're playing 12:30 again. All three international breaks, they're playing at 12:30. It's now been announced they're going to play Man City away after the November internationals. They've played 14 under the 8 years he's been in. Next is Spurs with 6. What do you think about his comments? Do you think they've been harshly treated?
I think there's an element of that in terms of recovery time and players being away, and teams like Liverpool have more players away. But if the bottom line for me is if you want to be one of the biggest clubs in the world, you want to be on TV every week. That's just the price you pay, and this, you're arguing about a matter of a few hours between 12:30 and 3 o'clock and 5:30, the time slots. I know some teams play on Sunday as well, but there are teams lower down the pyramid who would die to be on TV every week, and Liverpool are fortunate enough to be on TV almost every week. And so, the bottom line for me is that there are a lot of rewards that you get out of being on TV at 12:30. Liverpool get one of the biggest share of the TV revenues. And ultimately, that's the price you pay, is that couple of hours of recovery time difference. And is it really that much? We play football. I mean, another, not professionally, but 2 or 3 hours. I don't know.
Well, the things that they say that you have to have pasta at 9 a.m. and he's not seen Diaz last time, and they hadn't won their previous 6 out of 6 before the international break. And then they did beat Wolves, which you watched, right, 3-1. They started really slowly. McAllister got subbed off because apparently he had been playing to 4 a.m. in Bolivia. He's playing now at Peru at 4 a.m. So their record hasn't been great, and obviously Klopp's now moaned about it, and the Premier League have gone bang, 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 there's 3. So I suppose he's got a bit, I see what he's trying to say. I think he's trying to say that we are being harshly treated, but it feels like to me, Klopp has always got a bit of a moan, hasn't he? And is he giving his players a bit of an out for a poor performance?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, really, it should be a rallying cry of let's go. If you're going to go and win the title, or whatever you want, whatever the aspirations are, we'll come on to. You've got to overcome these types of challenges, and ultimately, it's going to be swings and roundabouts. There's going to be times later in the season, especially now that a big man just moaned about it, that they're going to get a bit of a break from it and it'll fall on another team. But some of these games are great. Everton this weekend, the Derby, Manchester City, the games you want to see on TV, the games that Liverpool earn the most money from, the teams that gain the most followers. This is why these teams are the biggest clubs in the world, because they're on these TV slots, because they're not on at 3 o'clock. And the teams like other teams lower down, like Brighton's, etc., who are trying to build their way up into that kind of category of top clubs. These are the games they need to catch up, but they don't get them because teams like Liverpool are constantly in those slots and gaining reputation, gaining support all over the world. That's nothing to complain about. Ultimately, it's why Klopp has more money to spend in the transfer window, and that's just the price you pay for being a club like Liverpool. And again, we said this, I think, last week. Get on with it.
No, I do agree, but also I love the Premier League. They've gone, right, Jurgen Klopp, you've moaned about it. Here's another one. There's Man City away. The VAR. If you're a Liverpool fan, you must be thinking, give us a break here. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of mistakes going their way, as we know. But let's go on to the aspirations then, because I think Liverpool are an interesting club, because the 3 games they dropped points this season, we've obviously got the Spurs, which we touched on with the VAR. They drew a Chelsea first game, and they drew a Brighton 2-2 in their last game. Now, they're an interesting club, aren't they? Because they can score goals. 19 goals, 19 they conceded. But what do we think? Do we think they can win the league?
Oh, it's tough to say, because I think they haven't played Manchester City or Arsenal. Those are going to be the litmus tests of whether they're going to be proper title contenders. Although you can almost get away with not winning those games if you're consistent enough against the other teams, and they have been pretty good. Like you mentioned, the Tottenham game was very unlucky. The Chelsea game, first game of the season, is almost a write-off. It's tough to hit the ground running. And then the other Brighton was the other game, and that's a tough game away from home that other teams like Arsenal may well drop points in as well. So it's tough to say. The defence, I think, is most people's concern, but also when you look at it, they've conceded, I think, only 3 more than Arsenal and Man City. So the defence isn't that bad, although we haven't played, like you said, the biggest teams, and they're scoring goals as well. I don't think it'd be a disappointment if they don't compete for the title until the end, based on the fact that they just had a big turnover in midfield, lost a lot of senior players. So they're much earlier in their project, if you like, than Arsenal, Man City, those expectations are probably not quite there. They want to take a step forward this season, but yeah, they could. I mean, they've got the talent there to do it. I mean, especially if they could be consistent against those smaller teams, rely on home form, and limit the amount of points they've dropped, which they have so far. So, I mean, on the evidence we've seen so far, they're capable of it. But they are, like I said, they've got a transitional phase in midfield, and that you wonder whether that might hold them back a little bit.
Yeah, it's an interesting Liverpool. When I look at them, I kind of wrote them off. I said, there's no way Liverpool can win the league this year. Then you start thinking about it, they won every game at home. They've been quite unlucky away from home. They could have easily turned them into all victories. And then you think, hang on a minute, yeah, the defence has been questioned. They've got a great defence at the moment. They're scoring goals for fun. And you think, hang on, maybe they could become title contenders. Because they also have January, they might be able to get another body in if they need it. Maybe a CDM, which has been quite, they haven't even got a CDM. And they're doing so well. The next 5 fixtures before the international break, the other one, are dream. They're a dream. Literally, you couldn't pick them any better. You've got Everton, Forest. You've got Bournemouth, Luton, and then Brentford. If you said now, give me 5 teams to play for the next international break, they are those 5 teams. They get 5 wins on the board, 15 points. The way Man City, like we said last week, are they in crisis? That could be Arsenal. Can they get ground on Arsenal? And suddenly we're talking about them. If we're talking about Tottenham, do we start talking about Liverpool? And it feels like they've got a free hit this season. But obviously, the only issue I have is their squad depth.
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, like I just said, if you can win those games, you almost don't have to beat Arsenal, Man City, because you can make up those points elsewhere. And that's where Arsenal fell off last season. They were beating the big teams and slipping up at the end of the season against teams like Fulham, etc. But squad depth is a bit of a concern. You wonder about the lack of leadership as well. They lost Jordan Henderson, James Milner, Fabinho, and I wonder whether that Jurgen Klopp, taking that kind of morning role, that leadership role in press conferences, calling people out. I wonder if that's kind of trying to bridge the gap in the leadership he doesn't have in his squad, perhaps. Although people may well come forward and take that role on. They've got young players in there now in that midfield. Graham Birch just signed as well, which is a good thing. But also you wonder if they get into a title race late in the season, those senior figures usually are quite important.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think you're right. And obviously Robertson got injured in the international breakers now, so you really have to think about who's going to lead that team and kind of galvanise them in a big away game, or maybe at home when the going gets tough. So prediction then, Premier League, their finish. I'm trying
to think of what I've gone for before.
I was tying myself. You
knots.
did say Tottenham might finish above Arsenal, and you've got Man City winning the league, so that
they'd be 3rd or 4th, I think.
3rd or 4th.
Yeah. I think it'd be top 4 quite comfortably, and then it depends a lot on what Arsenal and Tottenham are going to do.
We know your thoughts on Tottenham and Arsenal. Do you think Jamie's going to Tottenham will finish above Arsenal? That was kind of the shout. I think they'll finish 3rd as well, but I actually think it will be Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham in that order. What I've seen so far, however, we've got to look at the Europa League as well. I think they're going to go very far in the Europa League. I think they could even, obviously they could win it, but the finals in Ireland, I can see Liverpool in that final. And
that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Amazing. Yeah. Liverpool Brighton Europa League final, right? No, I can see them getting far in the Europa League. Klopp's going to take it seriously, and therefore have they really got the squad depth when the going gets tough?
And they've got Tottenham as well without European football, but that'd be a great top 4. In Tottenham, Liverpool, 2 sides you probably didn't think were going to be quite ready yet, given some of the signings the players have lost. It'd be a great top.
It's exciting. It's an exciting Premier League. Let's bring it back. Cannot wait. No more international breaks, please. I know we've got one more in November. Let's get a run at it, because if Man City do drop off, there are a lot of teams kind of just looking, being like, maybe we could jump in here, and I'm ready for it. So that's our prediction of Liverpool. Europa League, think they're going to win it?
They've reached the last 4. I wonder again the squad depth, whether they have to prioritise the Premier League, a bit of lack of leadership in those big kind of knockout games. Certainly contenders to win it, but at least
top 4. And didn't Louis say West Ham will come top 4 as well in the Europa League? I think he did. So we've got a West Ham, and I'm saying Brighton are going to come top 4 as well. Yeah. So we've got an all English affair Europa League. Okay, super. Right, that leads us on nicely to Virgil Van Dijk. Sticking with Liverpool, he's come out and said that basically in England there's too many matches. Yes, we're paid well, but basically the fixture is detrimental to our health, and we as players need to do something about it. An ultimatum there. I don't know what he was trying to get at. Then the Dutch journalist was like, okay, would you take a 10% pay cut, Van Dijk? Oh, no, I'm not taking the pay cut. No, we get, 350k a week. I got 10%, no chance, right? And they said, well, you said it's detrimental to your health. And he goes, oh, okay, no, I would take a pay cut. So first and foremost, in England, we have 2 cups, obviously the competitions. And I started looking at how many games do players play a season. Last season, do you know they played the most games last season?
In terms of players?
Yeah, it's a ridiculously hard question. August to May.
Oh, no, go on.
Bruno Fernandes played 70 matches last season, okay? Because obviously the World Cup was in December. So that's counting So that, I mean, we're not including an extra tournament in the summer, right? We've got the Euros coming this summer. So you could be talking, 70 to 80 games. So 70 matches, high paced, and then obviously, does that dilute the quality? Because then, therefore, players are tired. But I'll start with you first. Are there too many matches in England?
Yes, but I think partly because of international games, right? And I don't know what has happened in the last kind of 18 months. I think COVID led on to it, but the international schedule is just borderline pointless. You've got some international windows where they're playing 3 games, which is, when did that happen? I know it seemed to be catching up for COVID, and that catching up has never ended. But then even international windows where you have just one qualifier, because the groups are obviously not quite even, teams are still playing friendlies they're required to play friendlies. And I think, to bring it back to Wales, who had one qualifier in both the last 2 windows, I believe, played South Korea and Gibraltar in the last 2. And people are having a go at the Welsh FA for, like, why are you playing these friendlies? And they have no choice in playing that. They're required to fill that international slot. And then there's a bigger question about fans paying money to go see games because they feel obliged to support the nation and all those things as well. But the players are playing pointless games of football. They don't need to be playing. And that's another way to cut out games. And, you have the Nations League to make, which is glorified friendlies in many ways. I know they contribute towards qualifiers, but the international schedule is really contributing. And you mentioned the players jetting back late from South America and wherever they are, Asia. And that adds a big toll on the club football. As for the club football, it's always been this way, right? You can call all you like for the scrap in the League Cup, which is done, I think, in France and other countries, but it's always been this way. It's what you signed up for. And you mentioned the pay cut as well. Well, exactly. There are harder jobs that pay less than football. There are sports, actually, in rugby, American football, that take a bigger toll on your body in terms of health and life after the sport. And they get paid, certainly in rugby's case, get paid less than footballers. Footballers can go on to enjoy whatever career they like after this career. They're fortunate enough to do that as well. So, I don't feel sorry for them for the amount of football they play based on how much they paid. I know that's a simple argument to make, and the one that's always thrown at them, and that's reported the same. But that is the bottom line. You're compensated very well to play football. Some players are unlucky with injuries. We've just seen Eden Hazard and that, but most players come out of their careers now with the technology to have world-class healthcare and have pretty healthy bodies, and they're compensated well for the football they play, and it has no real lasting effect on their lives. So that there's no real argument against it, apart from being tired.
Yeah, no, I really struggle with this as well. I was trying to get behind Virgil Van Dijk, and I was thinking, okay, the League Cup could be scrapped. I do think there's too much football there, and the Champions League, there'll be more games now because they're changing the format from next season. But then I really started thinking about it and think, well, it's a short-lived career, isn't it? Most players will come for around 20-year-old. You get your Jude Bellinghams and your Wayne Rooneys, right? Which people like to highlight. But like Virgil van Dijk didn't really, let's not beat the bush here, he didn't get European football till very late. He was at Southampton, got the Europa League, he was at Celtic before, obviously. So for him to say as a centre-back, I'm playing too much football, I do really struggle with. I know he picked up an injury, but that wasn't because of overplay. That was because Jordan Pickford
it's a freak,
absolutely clattered him. And I think also with an international break, I think each player are always allowed a bit of a... Mitoma hasn't travelled to Japan. He says he's in poor health. He's playing too much football. And he's gone, do you know what? I think players can take themselves out of international football. And you're right, England have played Scotland we played Scotland for no reason. And we played Australia for no reason, which means nothing but glorified money. And it's so frustrating. You're thinking, we played Scotland, the most feisty game going, and we're our strongest team. Why are we doing that? It makes no sense. And also, international managers, they don't care. Because ultimately, it's about their job. So I do think the structure needs a bit of work, but I don't like Van Dijk just coming out and like, we need to do something as players. Well, how about, you're getting paid a serious amount of money. Just, if you can't play, pull yourself out international and do your best. Like, I really struggle with, I'm playing 3 times a week. Oh no, we just don't train as much. Work it out. So yeah, Virgil van Dijk and Klopp, it seems like they've kind of got the moaning feature, haven't they, together?
Honestly, yeah, and they play, 8 minus the playoffs as well, 8 games less than the Championship League, 1 League 2, whatever league. And there's a question for you then. You've said about the League Cup you want to scrap. Do you think the top 6 teams, the tradition? So we'll put it this way: the top 6 every year in the Premier League doesn't get to play in the League Cup.
Yeah, I thought about this.
But I could put a thing on it. But they have to give up the Conference League place, 7th place.
Okay. Yeah,
that goes to the League Cup winner, and it can't be one of the top 6.
So I love that idea, right? And I'm going to counter your idea, this idea, okay? So I think the League Cup should continue in the top 6, but the winning team, right, will win season tickets for their whole fans for the whole season, right? So say I don't know, let's say Crystal Palace, right?
Yeah.
You know, they just give up. We don't want the League Cup. Brighton, we play our second team. If you win the League Cup, all your season ticket holders get the next season for free. The League Cup will pay for it. So say that's like £2 million, right? Mm-hmm. That's two. Let's say, right, okay, the winners get 2 million for the season ticket holders, right? So therefore now clubs have to go, oh, do you know what? We better take it seriously because we're doing this for the fans.
Are you keeping the top 6 in?
Yeah, keep the top 6 in. Oh, but I know what you mean. Well, let's do this. So this gives you your idea. So you think top 6 out, and then you go, right, okay, Europa League, the conference.
Conference League, right? No one cares about the Conference League.
Oh, listen, we would have gotten it if you go look at West Ham last year. No, I like that idea. There's definitely, I agree with you. There's definitely, I like that idea. And I think they need to put a prize on it because ultimately you get no money for the League Cup. Clubs don't care until the semi-finals, right? And usually who's got the best second squad will win it. Man City, while they dominate it, right? So I think it needs a revamp. If it doesn't get a revamp soon, I think it will go. I think it'll be scrapped.
I was just thinking now, Van Dijk, right? It's more about all the football. Didn't they have an open top bus parade for winning the League Cup and FA Cup? The two competitions he'd probably want to scrap.
Virgil Van Dijk he just loves the moment, doesn't he? He loves the moment. So I think that needs it. Obviously Champions League and be more games, but like football has evolved now. You get 5 subs instead of 3. There's way more rotation. I mean, there's not many players like Saka who play every minute. So I do think if you need taking out. But I suppose my last question would be: does it dilute the sort of quality we're seeing? Because our players tired. Can you see that when you're watching a game? Do you think that therefore we're watching going, this is not the standard we expect?
I think maybe more because of injury, especially later in the season, you get a lot of muscular injuries. But that's I feel like that's always been the key. I'd like to see a study on whether that's increased with more football. But I think football's got bigger problems than tiredness. I think like the biggest quality question is the divide between the top few teams and the rest, and the Premier League is being bust open right now in terms of the money that's coming in. It's getting worse with some of the new owners. So I think that's the biggest concern. I think the guy who used to own Sunderland was talking about that this week, about how that divide is getting just so big, and we probably haven't seen anything yet. Probably going to get bigger and bigger. I think that's the biggest quality concern we have, in the Premier League and other leagues as well. But certainly the Premier League, where the new owners are allowed to run riot. I think like tiredness is not our concern, and perhaps that's the one thing that other teams can rely on to bridge the gap.
Yeah. But also, we're trying to connect footballers to their fans, right? How do you think that comes across to a working class person? They're working 9 to 5 every day. You might have 2 jobs, and you've got someone going, oh, I'm so tired. I've played 90 minutes at centre back against, no disrespect to Cyprus or Greece in a qualifier. Then they go and play your Luton, your Brentford, your Brighton, and go, oh yeah, I'm just so tired, whilst I rake in 350k a week. And your fans, and then he wants his fans and people to feel sorry for him. Like, well, that's not a connect, is it, at all? And I think, we'll go to your owners later as well. We're going to talk about Man United and their owners. And I agree, like, it's a serious problem, isn't it? And you're seeing the gap between the Championship and the Premier League already. And you're going to see the top 6. In the Premier League, we're very lucky that the competition, anyone can beat anyone on a given day. But I agree, there's definitely way more issues than Virgil Van Dijk being tired.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe another way to counter it is you say to every club, I mean, you have bigger squads than the 25 allowed Premier League, but then seriously cap how much those players earn in terms of, so then you can't allow Man City to have a squad of 40 great players. So that those players above the 25, they have to sign lower level players.
Yeah, well,
and then if they want to play them, fine.
Fine.
If Van Dijk doesn't want to play, fine. But you play, Ben Davis they signed from Preston or whatever. You have to play him. Fine.
I agree. And I think he's dangerous. And I also think we have to keep the subs, because I was watching the rugby last night, and South Africa almost had a different team come on. I was like, what's going on here? Yeah. So I do think we have to be careful, and we don't want to dilute the quality. But I think we can agree. We're going, get on with it, Virgil Van Dijk, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. So we agreed to that, haven't we? It must be Louis the awkward one. Ordinary Louis going, well, no, I don't agree. So next we're going to go Tom's teaser, okay? Now, thank you for those getting involved with YouTube. Seems like you're really enjoying it. So the next one, here's a question for you. Tom's teaser, can you get this question right? Bobby Zamora and Obafemi Martins have a Premier League record for doing what? Bobby Zamora and Obafemi Martins have a Premier League record for doing what? Now, if you're getting involved, get involved. Pause if you want. Have a think about this. It's a great little stat. One that might come up at a football quiz. Or if not, try it with your mates because it's a really good question. Have you got any inkling?
Tough question.
It is a tough question.
Could be anything.
And could be anything. Think about two strikers.
Yeah.
Two strikers. What could they have done that no one else has done?
So when you hear Bobby Zamora, you think headers, but then Martins, you're thinking, no, not really.
Exactly, yeah.
Martins, maybe backflips. Zamora, no.
Oh, no, yeah, he's definitely. He's not backflips.
No. I think it's going to be some like weird way of scoring, like a back heel or a scissor kick.
Weird way of scoring. You're not wrong. It's a weird way of scoring.
Oh,
what would these two have done that's unique scoring?
I would say like, no, it wouldn't be back heel, would it? Because then that's too weird a stat, I think.
Yeah, you're right. It is scoring, but not back heel.
Nice. How else could you score? No, left foot, would it? So. I don't know. I'm gonna have to say. Someone's on a bicycle kick.
Tough.
I don't know. Yeah.
Make sure we do. Try it with your friends at home.
So tough.
So here is right. Bobby Zamora and Obafemi Martins are the only players in Premier League history to score a penalty with their right foot and their left foot. Oh, imagine that, stepping up and just changing feet. Go, do you know what? I scored my right foot this week. Yeah. Do you know what? I'll take my left foot. Who even thinks about that? What? If you're the manager, right, and you see Bobby Zamora, he just tucked one in last week, bottom right, then he goes, I'm going to take my left foot this week. I'm just going to mix it up. There's a stat. If you haven't, so make sure share that one, share it with friends, see if they get it. That's your stat. Okay, the next topic is Manchester United. Now, I'm sure everyone's seen the news that they're coming for a takeover. Some are happy, some are really angry. And Jim, I'm going to come to you then. What is going on at Man United?
Yeah, so this process has been going on for more than 10 months, count 11 months. The Glazers announced that they would welcome outside investment. They didn't clarify whether they wanted a full sale or not. That angered supporters, especially over the 10, 11 months that this has taken for some sort of investment to be agreed. They designated an outside group, the Rain Group, to kind of oversee the takeover or investment. And it's been a crazy process, really. You had Sheikh Jassim Al Thani involved from Qatar, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who is a massive United fan who tried to buy Chelsea a few months ago.
They've had a season to get a Chelsea, right?
Yeah. So that those two have been waiting an answer. They both put bids in, differing bids as well. They've been waiting for an answer for months. Jassim threatened, my last offer, you better respond by Monday. They never did. And he kind of hung around for a while, but ultimately decided that he would pull out. And this happened over the weekend. So Qatar are no more. So United fans will not get their wish of a state ownership.
Which they badly wanted, right? They dreamt
some
of
at
Mbappe,
least,
they
yeah.
dreamt of Coman, they dreamt of all these big players. They put their morals aside for Mbappe,
They did.
Right?
We spotted this, checked out the other episode for this. We had a big complaint about state ownership. So United won't be joining City and Newcastle and the rest of them around the world with state ownership. So that's gone, but Jim Ratcliffe remains. He now is the favourite, although it looks like he wants 25% for 1.3 billion, which puts him short of the Glazers' overall valuations. They wanted in the latest asking price was £6 billion. That's $7.2 billion. So if you do the maths, 1.3 billion for 25% is 5.2 billion overall. Although it doesn't mean they don't charge more for the other remaining shares. Big twist is that Ratcliffe for 25% wants full control of footballing matters. That's a big ask for 25% probably, but given how dysfunctional United have been off the pitch, it might not be such a bad investment for the Glazers, because ultimately, if they give Ratcliffe control of footballing matters for 25%, and he's done well at other clubs as well, and they do well, they can ultimately just go and charge more for the remaining 75%, and Ratcliffe does want to increase his investment and buy the club in full later on, although I don't want to wish bad luck on him, but he's an older gentleman, shall we say, so let's see how long that takes, especially with the Glazers not wanting to relinquish their control of United overall. So It's a tough one. United fans kind of getting their wish in terms of at least the doors open to a full takeover. But they've been saying full takeover or nothing for months. And now that kind of gets put to the test because they're not going to get a full takeover. The Glazers aren't going to sell that 75%, at least not yet. But they're going to have to act at least a bit happy that 25% has been sold. And it's better than nothing. The Qatari ownership, Jassim wanted all or nothing and has literally walked away. So at least Ratcliffe is still there. He's still in the mix. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think United fans will be happy with that?
I don't think United fans are happy at all, and I'll tell you why. Because there's no transparency, is there? No one knows what's going on. We've been told, okay, I was reading last night. Oh, it's a phased takeover. Okay, well, who's going to be signing? Who's going to be spending money on transfers? Who's going to spend money on the ground? They've done a little bit of work in Carrington, but not much. Old Trafford, as we always see, is leaking. We see it go around social media. So because ultimately, as a football fan and Manchester United fans, they want to know who's investing in the squad because they feel they're falling behind, right? They feel they're falling behind to other teams, and now they're thinking, hang on a minute, are we going to be spending our time in 6th to 10th? Are we going to be dropping down? Are we going to know what Chelsea do at the moment? Or can we fight for the league? Obviously they can't. So for Man United fans, I do understand their frustration. They're like, we're the best team in the world. Well, they're the best team in the world, the best facilities, the best stadium. They're not even involved in the Euro 2028 best team. Old Trafford's dropped out of that. They've now got, an owner coming at 25%. We don't actually know what he's doing. It takes the accountability of the Glazers because suddenly they're going to have the majority but make no footballing decisions, and they're going to continue taking the money as well. And are they going to be draining out the money? Like, are they going to continue taking the profits? So for me, what I worry about, and I think Man United fans, I think they're going to protest because I think they're going to be like, unless we have open transparency, what's going on, then this doesn't seem right. And if it's a phased takeover, well, when can they sell? And you know what the Glazers are like? They'll change their mind. Oh, you're at 25%? Yeah, well, we're actually going to double that now. So for me, I actually feel a little bit for my United fans here.
Yeah, I think it's going to get if that goes through, 25%, obviously it hasn't gone through yet, but if that goes through, it's going to get very complicated. If this goes worse for Ten Hag, it's not going well at the moment, obviously, and they get to the point where it's, the old Ten Hag out, who are they going to put the blame on? Because if Ratcliffe does get football control and he doesn't give the fans what they want, say they want Ten Hag out, there's still going to be an element of blame on the Glazers. You're still going to see Glazer protests. So that's going to be such a messy situation at a club that's already made a mess of everything in the last 12 months in particular, especially off the pitch. So for me, you either sell. You can do what Leeds did. I think Leeds did this recently, right? They sold something like 20% to the 49ers, and then a few months later it went up to 40%, and so they've since took full control over the summer. So that's kind of how a phased takeover works. In that scenario, the 49ers really had a kind of a say, but they really took a back seat in footballing decisions until they had a real majority. So there really wasn't no doubt. So I think if this happens, 25%, there has to be zero doubt about who's running this club. Zero. There has to be everything that happens is Ratcliffe's fault.
Yeah, but do Man United fans trust the Glazers though? Do they trust that phase takeover? Because do we know that's a word? How long is it going to be? Like you said, we don't know how long this is going to be. Will it be the summer? Will it just continue? And will the Glazers wait for the stock market? This is the big thing. United is not just a football club, is it? It's a huge, big entity that basically they're draining money from. And if you're the Glazers, right? Let's be honest here. Let's take sentiment out of it. You don't care about the football club, really. All you're thinking about is your bank balance. If United finish 5th for the next 5 years, it really doesn't make a difference. Yes, they want Champions League football, but they're going to make so much money from TV rights anyway. They're a huge business. So for once, I do feel sorry for Man United fans. I can see their frustration, and it's going to be a long road because Ten Hag could be I don't say on his way out, but it's fair to say he's struggling, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Who do you bring in? That squad needs a huge overhaul, and who's going to make the decisions?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's either way, it's going to be another billionaire's play toy. That's how it goes. And even for Jim Ratcliffe, it's going to be about making money. Is what he's done. I know he's a United fan, but listen, it's going to be about making money. And let's see. I mean, like we said with the Leeds, with that situation, they pre-agreed a price to take over the club at a later date. I don't think the Glazers are going to do that with 25% because it doesn't suit them. Why would they sell? The whole reason they'd sell 25% and give footballing control is because if they do well, they can command more money. That's the only reason you would do that. Otherwise, they won't give them football control. I think that's the thing. if he doesn't get football control, he might get a price to buy the club at a later date. But if he does, I think he puts himself in a difficult situation.
The Glazers win again. They go, right, oh yeah, here you go, 1.3 billion, yeah, you take 25%, you do everything, we'll sit over here in America, no accountability, counting the checks, getting the money in, and then it's like, it's just an absolute mess. And this is why you have to be so careful. When you sell a football club, you have to really be careful who you're selling to, because you just don't know who they are, what they want from the club, and how they're going to operate. So I think it's a long road for Man United. We've both said that we think Ten Hag's on his way out and that they're going to struggle this season, and I kind of, for once, I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, tough situation, but let's see how this goes out. The takeover isn't final yet, or the partial takeover, but it's looking that way. And Qatar, gone.
Yeah, Qatar gone, which is a good thing. But let's be honest, the Glazers could do a U-turn, right? This only came out last couple of days, so by next week it could be a completely different situation. But yeah, that's weird. So Man United fans, let us know what you think about it, because it sounds an absolute mess on and off the field at the moment. Right, it's time for best bets. Now, obviously, Louis not here, but he was minus 40, wasn't he? I think he was struggling. So let's get on to the best bets. I think you're in profit, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I'm in profit. 23, I think. You're 23. So,
okay.
Yeah, we're giving Louis needs a week off.
Louis needs a week off, and you have to bet responsibly, and he's just betting badly, isn't he? It's not even responsibly. He's just putting some awful bets on. It's great just saying this to Louis when he's not here. He's back in Chelsea. Stop doing that. Always back against Chelsea, which we like, and never back the early kickoff. Right, so best bets. What do you fancy this week?
Yeah, we've got some good games this weekend, some derbies, but I'm avoiding those because never bet on derby either. So Man City and Brighton, that's going to be a great game. One of the games of the weekend.
Not on TV.
A travesty it's not on TV.
I can't
goals,
believe that.
Surely goals.
Yeah, I know, that's crazy.
We say that would be a Man City 1-0. But anyway, I'm not backing that. Man City, I'm going both teams to score, Man City to win. That's 11-8, brings back 23-75. I'll tell you why. Man City, obviously, a juggernaut in general. They need to bounce back from that Arsenal defeat. Brighton, the biggest scorers in the league, who would have thought that, but also the fourth worst defence in the league. So I'd back them to grab a goal at City, even if it's late on. But City need a win, need to bounce back, and favourites for this one. So that kind of writes itself for me.
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe bet, isn't it? Well, I don't want to say safe bet. I think Brighton have scored in every game, and they've conceded in every game. Mm-hmm. So 0 clean sheets, scoring for fun against Man City, who are going to be
at home as well.
Yeah. But we'll say Man City is always good to play them after the international break at 4 o'clock. They switch off a little bit, no cameras. So I think we're beating 5-1. No, I would say they're probably going to beat us. We never do well there historically. 2 or 3-1, good bet. And that returns how much, sorry?
23.75.
Oh, perfect.
So, yeah.
On we go.
Top it up.
Yeah, top it up. Yeah, exactly. Right, so I've gone for Newcastle to beat Crystal Palace at home. Because Crystal Palace have so many injuries at the moment. And I think away from home, they haven't got the crowd. Newcastle, we don't really talk about Newcastle much because they just win, and they win at home 1 or 2-0.
Yeah, steady, innit?
Yeah, it's not always exciting. I know they beat Sheffield United 2-0 last time. They get it done, they keep a clean sheet, and they move on. And at home, if you're going to back anything, it'll be 2-0, late on Isaac penalty, or Wilson will come on penalty, and it's like, oh, they won 2-0. And you forget it always happens. So I think Newcastle will do that, and then it's the big one. I've gone for it. Arsenal are playing away at Chelsea, and I'm backing Arsenal to beat them. You know what I think about Arteta, you know what I think about Arsenal. I really think at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea can't just sit back. They can't be like, oh, Arsenal, you have the ball. They've got to come out a bit. You think Saka and Martinelli will be starting, and I just think they have a nice little break as well. I think they just have a little bit too much for them. And I think Jesus and Nketiah, one of them, has got to answer the critics and say, I'm a striker, I can do it. And I'd love it if Havertz got the winner, but I think he'd be on the bench, obviously.
Yeah, I think so. Chelsea are back, no?
Chelsea are not back, no. Well, yeah, that's true. I was pointing at Louis here. You two think Chelsea are back. Well, obviously, I've gone those two, right? Returns 31. But just quickly on that Chelsea-Arsenal game, well, where would you be backing to win that?
I could see a draw, I think.
See a draw,
I think Arsenal, they got the big win last time.
That's a huge win.
Yeah, I wonder, away from home, Chelsea picked up 3 points, Raheem Sterling back in form. I don't know. I'm Arsenal favourites. I'm not going to deny that. But yeah, just a derby as well, you know.
Especially I've risked it, haven't I? I've gone for it.
It's a risky game, but that's where the reward is.
That's what the reward is. So for me, it's 31 back. You 23. Was it 73?
Yeah, 75. Yeah.
Yours feels a lot easier than mine actually. Now, and this is why back what Jamie's saying. Mine I've got to justify my 2 results. Yours, I'm like, yeah, that's done. You know, okay, super. So that's our best bets. Now time for the quiz. This quiz is a bit different this week because what we're going to do, I want you to play along at home, is test how well do you know the Premier League, okay? So I'm going to ask 5 questions. If you get 0, Get back in the books, okay? Start doing some more research.
I'm going to Cyprus if I
Go to Cyprus, go and join Louis and get on his Premier League camp, okay? Because, you know, he's got the stats. So, how well do you in the Premier League? If you get 0, try and do some more stats. 1, you're like League 2 level. You're getting it. 2, you're Championship. You're fighting for promotion. 3, you know your stuff. 4, world class. 5, you're a legend, okay? If you get 5, I'm going to be...
Question of sport next week.
Oh, you literally sign him up, he's going to be there, okay? So, question 1, okay? How do you feel when you're under a bit of pressure, this, isn't it?
I am, on my own, because, there's no other guests, you know?
You haven't got
Sometimes
Louis.
the other guests lead you on to ideas.
They do, don't they? Yeah, well, I was Stoke.
Yeah,
First day, Jamie's parents were in Valencia, and we had a tournament on Saturday, and Jamie's mum went, Stoke, first thing she said to me. I was like, yeah, fair enough. That was my horrible answer 2 weeks ago. Right, so, first question. What year did the Premier League start?
It was 94? I think it was 93.
Louis not here, so I'm not. If you jump in, it's fine. Play at home. I'll let you kind of give me a final answer, like who wants to be a millionaire. So, what year did the Premier League start?
Maybe it was earlier.
Pressure. This is what it does to you. This is what the quiz does to you. This is why I shouted Stoke that time. Gets you.
93.
93 is Jamie's final answer. Pause it if you don't want to know the answer. But I can tell you, the answer is 1992.
Oh, look at that.
1 out. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, now you're in trouble. Because it's going to get progressively harder as we go.
Devastation.
That's harsh, that is harsh, I know. 1992 it started, the big Premier League, and that's where it started. And good documentary actually on Netflix. Right, anyway, question 2. Who is the all-time assist leader in the Premier League? 160 plus assists in the Premier League. I think it's 163 to check. Who has the most assists ever in the Premier League? It's toughy. It's toughy, but I think you'll get it.
Oh, there's a few though. There's a few.
You're going to think about longevity, 163. You know, that's a lot of assists, isn't it? Again, are you going to get it at home?
We're going to go...
Is it toughy actually? I think the next one's easier. That's a toughie. Lampard. Got 177 goals. But will he have got 163 assists?
Probably not.
I thought you would have got it. Do you know why I thought you'd have got it? He's Welsh.
Is it Giggs?
It's Ryan Giggs.
That was your second
Ryan
guess.
Giggs, yeah. I thought something in that order. I thought you'd get Ryan Giggs.
My second guess, yeah.
Longevity, Ryan Giggs. Okay, number 3. Yeah, this is tough now, isn't it? Because again, they are getting progressively harder. Number 3, Alan Shearer is the Premier League top goal scorer ever, okay? He's got the most amount of goals. Can you tell me how many goals has he scored?
256, was it? If it's 1 out again, I'm off. I'm going home.
256 is your answer. Are you locked in?
Yeah.
This is going to be tough. There's 260. 260. Oh, this is heartbreaking, isn't it? This is the Premier League. This is what it does to you. It puts the fear into people. 260. Look, then you get them at home. Are you 3 out of 3? Next question. And it only gets harder, okay? Now, this is I think actually this is number 4. This could be the hardest question. Harry Kane left Spurs to go to Bayern Munich. But how many goals did Harry Kane have? How far was he off Alan Shearer?
Oh, I don't know this.
It's toughy. It is
don't know
toughy.
this.
I'll give you a point
exactly.
if you get within 2.
Within 2?
Yeah.
If I applied for the last questions, I might have been right.
You're doing right.
So
let's think about it. Alan Shearer got 260. Was Harry Kane close before going to Bayern Munich?
is it like a round number? Can you give me
No,
that?
it's not a round number.
All right.
It's a messy number.
204.
I really thought you were going to get it. I know it. It was tough. It was tough. 213. It would have been a tough one. But this is what this is world class
He's got
level.
50 goals.
Yeah. It's really,
Yeah.
He left. He got 213. He was so. I didn't realise he was actually that close. And so I did this
Might be
question.
back.
Do you reckon he'll come back?
Yeah,
Old Trafford. Get there. Number 10. Right. Last question, Jamie. and this is the hardest question, to get yourself a point on the board. Now, anyone at home's got 4 out of 4 and got the Harry Kane one, unbelievable. Right, if you get the hardest one right, that would be quite funny. So 3 players hold the record for the most amount of red cards ever in the Premier League with 8. Can you name those 3 players? If you get 2, I'll be very impressed. Well, you obviously know them, but I'll be very impressed if you can get. So 3 players have 8 red cards. Can you name them? If you get this at home, world class.
Just got to think dirty players. I don't know.
Yeah, you're
Maybe
right.
it's not though.
No, you're right.
John Terry.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause the playing at home. I'm gonna give you a little help, all right?
Go on.
1 centre back, 1 centre midfielder, 1 striker.
Ooh, striker's tough.
Striker, you've really got to think who was a bit of a hard man, just wanted it a bit scrappy. Midfielder, iconic. Centre half, that's iconic. But
Midfielder. Would you go Roy Keane?
Roy Keane, okay, so you're going John Terry, Roy Keane. Any clues on the striker?
Ooh, physical striker.
This is the hardest one. Bit back. He's been a manager recently though. He's now a manager in Scotland. Give us more clues here.
Scotland.
You've played Everton.
Duncan Ferguson.
So I'll give you that because I know it's true. Okay, so it goes. Big dunk, 8 red cards.
Yeah.
Iconic midfielder, you've gone Roy Keane. However, if you flipped it with his arch enemy, Patrick Vieira, and the centre half, Richard Dunn. There you go, 3. Dunn also own goals.
If you got that.
If you got that, you are a legend, exactly. So, Jamie, you got 0 out of 5 in the Premier League quiz.
You know what? I feel okay about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the playoffs because I was there. I was close within a couple.
Also, it's tough, isn't it? If you don't know that, it's tough. You know, the pressure's on you there. But how did you get home? If you got all 5, you are a legend. We need to get him on. Take Louis on. Because we need someone to beat Louis, don't we? And I think
it's not going to be me, clearly.
Well, it's getting desperate this time, isn't it? Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next Monday.